So I'm going to combine microgreens with vegetable broth, and I'm going to do so in a way that is going to demonstrate this Tadka technique that I mentioned in the previous videos. And so I got all of my tools together, I got the utensils, and this is going to be my preparation bowl, but it's also going to be my eating bowl. It's very efficient and compact that way, right? So there's no waste here in terms of tools and what their purposes are. So everything here serves a dual purpose. And so that orange jug has my water that I'm going to use for pasta. I got my broccoli set aside, and I got a gallon bag, a resealable bag that's half full of microgreens that I've harvested and that I've washed with spring water earlier in the day. And so this is the coconut oil. A clump of coconut oil is from Walmart, organic, great value brand, unrefined virgin coconut oil, expeller pressed, and it works perfectly. I've tried premium brands of coconut oil, and I will say the Walmart coconut oil, in my opinion, tastes almost as good. But you don't always need that premium taste in what you put together. I'm just going with a healthy oil is my main goal here, and I'm heating it up so that this clump melts and that I have very hot oil in that's taking place, right? And then there's my spatula on standby that I'm going to use to stir everything, right? And so I got this on high heat, right? You can do this process with medium heat and you would still come out with a great result. But this high heat is going to serve my purposes for what I'm trying to do, because for me, the high heat allows me to sear in that spice even more, right? So now we have the oil liquefied, and let's pour in this spice. So I got noni powder, turmeric powder, cardamom powder, fenugreek, and black pepper all mixed together, and I'm stirring them together until the clumps go away and until I get a very consistent color, right? I'm going for a very consistent color and consistency in the spice oil mix, right? That's what I call it, a spice oil mix. But this is an ancient technique that I've learned recently. It's a very ancient technique that goes back thousands of years, and from all the food that I've cooked since I've finished my 30-day fast, this technique works extremely well to bring flavor to food. It works so well you don't even need salt. That's how good it works. That's the first batch of microgreens that I'm going to mix in with the spices. So they're going to be the primary recipient of the spices. And then I poured in some vegetable broth, right? Low sodium vegetable broth. You can go to my vegan grocery run video for the actual brand that I use, right? So this is Pacific Foods brand, by the way. And so there I am. I'm stirring in the vegetable broth, and I'm using the spatula to pull out the residue at the bottom of the pan as well as the sides of the pan, because I want every bit of it to be part of the sauce, right? And so that's what I'm doing here. And you just got to be quick on it, right? And not let the residue in the bottom of the pan sit there too long. If you get to it quick enough, then it merges. Then I'm gonna put a layer of that Ragu Simply 8 organic non-GMO spaghetti sauce right on top, cover it, and then look, I have it half cooked, right? So then that allows the spaghetti sauce to get a nice heat before stirring it, right? Because when you stir these things, you kind of want to stir them in a very you want the stirring to happen with great consistency, right? The liquid, you want it to have consistency and not just be this like the clumpy kind of haphazard kind of thing. So that's what that process established there. So now I got a very consistent liquid with the second layer of microgreens, right? So that first layer, those microgreens, they lost probably 90% of their nutrients, but they gained texture and flavor from the spices. So that's my base. This second layer is going to be medium level in terms of nutrients. And then this is my serving bowl, or the bowl that I'm going to eat out of. And I got hemp seeds, which are going to add proteins. And then I got Himalayan pink salt. I'm just going to let it sit there at the bottom of the bowl because that's going to mix with the pasta later on. And then what I have is this simmering even more. And so I got a good heat here that I'm now going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to place these broccoli florets stem side down with the top of the florets facing up. And then with the heat turned off, and I'm actually going to remove it from the heating element to reduce the heat even more and even faster, but still have enough heat that when I put the lid over this, it's going to apply gentle steaming to the top of the florets while the bulk of the heat coming from the liquid underneath starts working on the stems. What I don't want is lippy, clumpy broccoli, right? While that may taste okay, I want my broccoli to have a little bit of a crunch, but I also want to be mindful that if I put the broccoli in there too long, that it's going to lose nutrients. So I want to keep the broccoli to 5 minutes or less, and then here's the pasta. I'm gonna mix that together with the hemp seeds and the Himalayan pink salt, and and then what's not shown here is I also add a little bit of coconut oil to oil up this pasta just a little bit, and then I would just want to leave it like this artistically, as well as already have it distributed. That's why I like that wok style eating bowl, because it allows you so many options in terms of putting your food together. And then I put the final touches on this by stirring it and let it sit just a little bit longer. And then I pour that all together into the serving bowl, and I'm going to scrape out all the rest of these bits from the pan with the spatula so that there's absolutely nothing left in there. And as I went through this process, I was cleaning up at the same time so that by the time I finish, all the utensils and everything are already clean, and all I have to do is focus on eating. And so what I noticed is that this microgreens, I was on the fence about microgreens after I finished this my first batch of microgreens ever, but I noticed that this has the texture of ground beef, and combined with the sauce, it tasted absolutely phenomenal. The broccoli came together very well, and I'm getting the maximum nutrients from it. And I have some nutrients from a good clump of microgreens. That was the last bit of microgreens added in the process. But that ground beef texture, even though I haven't had beef since before 2004 or somewhere in that neighborhood, right? Because I became vegetarian in 2006 and vegan a couple of months ago when I got rid of dairy. But I can tell you that I remember the texture of ground beef, and this tastes absolutely phenomenal. So I definitely will do this again. But I did notice that I didn't need the pasta. Just the broth and the sauce alone, combined with these elements, was sufficient to produce a very good taste.